I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars franchise seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also let's not forget about their new live-action Star Wars TV series to arrive on Disney+, and on top of that we also have the new Star Wars Trilogy by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zeroh. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they are now in a phase of desperation and damage control in order to really get things right and to really bring Star Wars on the right road, or the right path, if you will, to success. After all, we do know that Bob Iger and Bob Chapek both really want to make Star Wars as successful, if not more so, than the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not necessarily that they're competing with the MCU, but they want to make their second franchise, their second biggest franchise out there, that they actually own, to be on the same exact level of another one that they own, which is of course Marvel. Now, with that being said, we do know that the new Star Wars trilogy is going to be a main focus by Disney and Lucasfilm and Bob Iger and Bob Chapek, and exactly what that's really going to look like and how it's really going to impact the Star Wars universe and the franchise as a whole, right? We do know one thing for certain is that this new trilogy is going to have a different tone in comparison to the prequels, originals, and even the sequel trilogy era and the other spin-off films, and that it's going to feel very different, yet at the same exact time feel like Star Wars, and will be more authentic and will also pay tribute to George Lucas's visions. Now, on top of all of this, what's really intriguing all has to do with the fourth Star Wars trilogy of films that are going to be released in the near future, where now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are both primarily focused on their new Star Wars universe, as well as their new Star Wars trilogy of films. Now, currently both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are busy developing the structure of the new EU and exactly how it will be handled moving forward, with new creative and of course new creatives coming on board, and even promoted ones like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, for example. Now, it's explained that the first film of the fourth Star Wars trilogy is currently moving along smoothly in its pre-production phase, and that Kevin Feige of the MCU will be a major help in developing the backbone of the new trilogy and how it will be actually structured. Now, Feige is actually said to also still be in the talks with actor Keanu Reeves and in negotiations with him to become a part of the new Star Wars universe. However, Keanu still needs to finish work with The Matrix 4 and also begin work with John Wick Chapter 4. The first film of the new trilogy is actually set to introduce the Wills, who are godlike beings that created the Star Wars universe. The new trilogy is explained to hold many of George Lucas's visions that will be made canon under Disney, and that new truths of both the Jedi and the Sith will be discovered. Also, it's known that the Yuzong Vong are set to appear in at least one of the new trilogy films and will be treated differently by Disney by putting them in a brand new timeline for the Star Wars franchise. Not just that, but also Jennifer Connelly is said to be on board for one of the films, where she will actually play a new villain of the Star Wars universe. Now, it's unclear if she will be a regular dark side user or a full-blown Sith in the new trilogy. However, the new trilogy is also set to introduce the true origin of the Jedi Order and exactly how it all started from the very beginning, while also diving into the Prime Jedi that was teased in The Last Jedi visual dictionary and even in the film. Now, Disney will be using many of George Lucas's ideas from abandoned projects of the new trilogy, of course, that will be used, while also allowing to explain more about the Chosen One prophecy and exactly how it was created from the start. Dave Filoni is said to also have creative control over the new trilogy in some form, and is described to be the one to handle how the Worlds Between Worlds will be used in live-action form. Disney has a plan to use this mysterious realm in the new trilogy that was first revealed in Star Wars Rebels, and that they are also set to unveil exactly what the netherworld of the Force will appear like, visually speaking, in the new films that will give fans a different view of what the realm actually looks like that allows the Force ghosts to connect with the mortal realm. Now, the entire trilogy is said to have a mixture of tones from Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, with Star Wars in the mix. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when we think about the new trilogy, obviously this is going to be a fresh start for Disney. It's going to be a batch of films that Kathleen Kennedy is going to have zero creative control over, and that's one thing that I think is a major plus in this situation by Disney and Lucasfilm, obviously. You know, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm, they're trying their absolute best to really give us exactly, what we want. We want pure Star Wars stories that actually do fall directly in the vision from George Lucas and how it feels very authentic, and that's exactly what they want to do. Now, the new movies, obviously, they're going to have to really play their cards correctly in order to really make it successful. And they have to be successful on a consistent note here, right? You can't have, on and off films like with the sequels here and there, or the spin-off films, right? You have to actually have a consistent flow of successful Star Wars movies if they really plan to match it up against the MCU, which I really do believe is going to be a very hard task to complete. It all depends on how both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are really going to handle everything moving forward. So, with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.